And we are live. Good evening, everyone. John and Dave for Just Our Take. I am John.
And I am Dave. And this is Just Our Take.
Process of elimination. You had to be Dave.
Oh, you're not hearing me all of a sudden? I am Dave.
No, I got you. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great. You know what? It's been a great weekend. I really enjoyed some time off. My wife and I spent a good part of yesterday and today just putting our house in order and, just chores, but it's good. It felt really good. Actually, a little cathartic that we weren't off busy traveling someplace. So it was good. I really had a nice weekend.
Good deal. We had our friend up, my buddy Mike. And by the way, we had some great comments and great feedback from our podcast last week with
Nice.
our special guest. And a lot of people want him back. So I think we should have him back.
I want him back. He's great. He's got a lot of stories. I think we just tipped the type of the iceberg with Mike.
Yeah, for sure. So tonight's show, we have some fun stuff. We're going to talk about the border. There's some things going on at the border that, isn't making the mainstream news. So that's why we're here. There's some things that are happening out and about at the border. We've had both presidents at the border this week. So that was rather interesting. We've got some clips from that. We also want to talk a little bit about the I'm going to call it the Fani Willis case, only because this started off to be a case against Donald Trump and 18 others. And it was about election interference. We'll talk more about that in a little bit later. It's turned into a circus and a sideshow. So we'll go to those things. I know you got some fun stuff too.
That's why I call it the Fani saga. Because it is a saga. It's going to make a great movie one of these days.
The funny part is some people call her Fanny, but I think it's most people are pronouncing it Fani, so that's what we'll go with.
I think it's Fani, yeah.
And what do you say we jump right in? No, I see. I was talking to someone today, and there are times that David goes down a dark road, and I'm not
going dark.
My job is to rein him in to keep him from jumping down that dark road. By the way, if you are live on YouTube, we love that you're here. If you're live on Rumble, we're really glad you're over there because we're going to be transitioning our show from YouTube and Rumble to exclusively YouTube. So if you haven't done so already, we are on Rumble at just_our_take, and that's OUR, not the letter R, just like this, except it's underscore between each of the letters or each of the words. So please join us on Rumble. We can be a lot freer about what we talk about there.
Which is, I appreciate you're doing that, John, because I know you're doing that mostly for me so that you don't have to give me the womp, 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 womp music when I go down that dark road. Yes.
Had to do it. Sorry.
Appreciate it.
What do you say we jump into it, Dave?
Yeah, let's talk about the president's visiting the border. That's an exciting
Before
story.
We do that, I show you about some really cool stuff that's going on. I want to show you the border construction that's going on. You know, we're hearing an awful lot about there are things happening on the border, but mostly it's just illegals coming across. And by the way, there's a new name. They're not called illegals. I don't know if you heard that, but the current administration has come up with a new name, and they are now to be called newcomers.
Say it again. You clip newcomers.
Newcomers. They are now newcomers. They are not illegal aliens. They are to be called newcomers. So
just for the record, because they've been invited by our current administration, I don't call them illegals. I do think it's a mass migration. But newcomers is an interesting way of glossing over the fact that we have maybe made some changes to how we manage immigration. But anyways, go move on. I want to hear what you have to say about this border wall being constructed.
So what's really interesting is when we are looking at the border, all we see is the mass influx of migrants coming over, massive holes. They had to plug up an entire park in Eagle Rock or Eagle Pass, Texas. And in fact, they've built an entire encampment there. They plan on staying there for the long haul. They have facilities to house about 2,500 Texas National Guard there. So that's one of the areas that they plugged up. But what they don't talk about is there's actually ongoing construction. And I'm going to call it secretive construction because they're not telling everybody. And I want to show you a clip from our friend over at JLR Construction or JLR Investigation. Let's go here. And clearly they are working on a border wall there.
Oh, it says Nogales. I was going to say, where is that? But it's Nogales. Interesting.
This one is in Nogales, yeah. Sorry about the wind noise. So this is construction that had... Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, I actually know that border crossing, not that exact stretch you're looking at here, but I have parked my car in the McDonald's parking lot and walked across that border several times in the past when I lived in Arizona. That is a pretty busy border crossing, through the normal migration process. But
so we're going to let this run out just a little bit because there comes a time where he gets stopped and he's confronted for filming there on the border. It's pretty interesting.
Who's stopping him?
I think they'll tell you.
Oh, okay. I'll be patient.
One of the features of the main border fence is that there are sensors in the ground that detect movement. So cars or people walking, they can be detected and alerted. Border Patrol is, by the way. And here's his first visit. So for those of you just joining us, this is a video from JLR Investigations, Nogales, Arizona. Secret border wall construction being done. And he's about to be interrupted by private security.
I'm going. How's it going? Yeah, I'm a journalist.
Oh, gotcha. Can you not record me?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I want her. Just curious what you're doing out here.
Just documenting everyone coming through illegally.
Gotcha. Well, unfortunately, right now this is actually an active construction zone.
Okay.
So we don't at this time because we have forklifts and a bunch of heavy equipment.
Is this a
going back
public
and forth.
road?
This is public, sir, but I'm just advising you that it is an active construction area.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I see you guys like approaching me all right.
No,
I'm on a public road. I'm on a public road.
I understand.
I'm on a
sir.
public road. I'm on a public
However,
road.
we're here to keep you safe
So
and everybody
Border
else
Patrol
safe.
knows I'm here, and I've been here every day documenting.
Sir,
for
I
this.
understand. This is
Okay.
a public road.
So you're
So-
telling me not to be here?
I'm saying, I'm advising you that it's an active construction area and that there are safety hazards and concerns with all personnel in the area.
I'll be fine.
That is
I'll be
I'm
all right.
saying.
Yeah.
If we could have you just remain on this side of the road, that would be perfectly fine, sir.
On
Right here.
Right here.
In the center,
Yeah, sure.
that would be.
I'm documenting people that are coming through illegally here. Thank you. Because this is border road, right? This is a public road,
It is
right?
the IBR, so it's just that we don't want any incidents.
You're not gonna have an incident with me. Thank you.
Okay, so
You're not going to have an
First of
incident with me.
how long was he there? I mean, he wasn't there for more than, 4 minutes?
Yeah. a couple
And
minutes.
yeah, and those folks showed up and they talk later on about who they are. Actually from a security company out of Chicago. Oh no, Ohio, sorry. And I don't know. They seemed a little bit nervous that someone was filming them building a border wall. I tend to remember a time where they were proud of the fact that they were building a border wall. I don't know. What's your take, Dave?
My take, it's very interesting. I too would think they would be proud to talk about it. What's also interesting is none of the mainstream news agencies that I'm aware of have brought this up. I haven't seen this on any of them. I'm surprised. You'd think Fox would have picked it up, or some of the others. But so there's no media coverage, and it looks like they want to keep this very low key. It's very interesting.
Yeah. I'm scoot for just a little bit because it's kind of funny here in just a second. Let's see what happens.
I'll respect that. This is a public road. This is a public road. Dude, I got approached by literally two, like they were armed. I don't know if they were armed or what, but this is the spot where people cross in to the United States illegally right here. They're working on the border wall, I guess. Construction on the border wall. But this is a public road. I don't really care about that per se. It's this issue here about this vulnerability in the border wall. Vulnerability in the border wall. And
Just sorry, I was watching a stream of his a couple days before this came up, where he was actually showing over 100 people an hour coming through this exact spot, and he saw that the wall was being, at least it looked like it was being built. There was construction materials there, but no one was working. I think he was there over the weekend, and now he's there during the week. So let's get back to it.
And when people cross into this country illegally,
This is the good part.
they come through right here. They come through right here.
Hey, do me a favor, don't film the equipment, all right?
Gotcha. I'm here to film the people that cross over illegally.
Keep the camera over there,
Yeah.
all right?
God bless you. That was a strange one too. They don't want their
Very odd.
cameras, or they don't want cameras filming equipment,
What?
which is very wild. Very, very strange.
And he has no,
Wow.
you have no authority to say
Wow.
don't film.
That is strange.
Right?
So this is right by the border wall here. It's open. This is just west of Nogales.
There's just a little more to this clip I
can
want you to
it right
see.
there. Look at this. Somebody has a gigantic Pepsi over here. Well, we'll wait and see if anyone crosses in illegally here. But it's so strange. They don't want to be filmed, and they don't want their equipment being filmed.
Yeah, it's really odd. What's the big secret?
I don't get it.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I don't.
I mean, they're very
There's probably-
sketchy.
Yeah, there's a reason. I'm super curious.
And we'll sit here and wait.
Okay, there's one more interaction I want you to see, and then we'll get back to it.
So I wonder, are they closing that section up, and they just haven't gotten to it yet, and they're working on other sections?
So this was uncompleted or incomplete parts of the wall, and for the longest time, nothing's been done there. And they started construction again recently. And by whose authority?
Maybe it's
Who's
a
paying
secret
for it?
operations.
Yeah, it's a secret operation. Who knows? It's certainly,
Yeah.
it's
Maybe
certainly
it's a
not
secret
publicized.
operations. What's going on? That could be it.
Wow.
Or maybe they're worried or scared that their images, the equipment that could give the other side an idea of what they're doing or their strategy purpose. That could be a possibility.
We're with PLE Pro.
What's
All right,
PLE?
let me go back.
I work for JLR Investigates. I work for myself. I'm a YouTuber with 160,000 followers. So we have many thousands of them watching.
Okay.
So who are you guys?
We're with PLE Pro.
What's PLE stand?
You want to look that up real quick, Dave? ELE.
Your
PLE.
client
Yeah.
base builders?
Let me take a look.
Not the builder. We're not building the construction yet.
I think it's PLE Security.
Check out the channel later.
Mm.
We got a big
Guys
you have
promoting
any?
is
Yeah, out of
awesome.
Ohio.
I'm Mackie.
Hi, Mackie. How are you? Yeah, we cover the border
And you
across
said it's John?
Jonathan. So we go from border community to border community. And we see what's going on. I don't know if you want to say, but they come through here a lot. We've documented hundreds that came through already here. They go up the road, Border Patrol intercepts them, and we're here to see if any come through this afternoon. Though I was just in a plane above. We were doing the whole border wall tour from Sassabee to Nogales.
Oh, with you were in the Black Hawk that just flew over about 12:12.
Just say yes. Yeah, that was me in the Blackhawk.
So, okay, just to unpack a couple things here. First, we get security there within 4 minutes of him starting to film.
Yep. Yep.
And then we get the crane operator coming over saying, don't film our equipment. And then security comes back because obviously they radioed back to HQ and they're saying, hey, who are you? We need to get some documentation on who you are. And then says, oh, were you in the Black Hawk? So there was a Black Hawk flying over the area.
You just say yes. Were you in a Blackhawk? Yes, I was. Maybe.
Yeah. So this whole thing is just really sketch. And in watching this part, what was interesting is that I found there's two other locations too. One of them is in just outside of Jacumba, California, where they're building border wall there too. And it's a massive operation. It's not tiny. So why isn't that making the news too?
Yeah. So it's a little puzzling. If I were, so I don't know about California, but in Arizona, if you felt like, hey, we're doing the right thing, where somebody's funding it, I don't want to assume too much, but somebody's funding this border wall construction in Arizona. Why don't you want to draw attention to it? What's the reason why you'd want to keep this quiet? And also interesting, CNN, who was first on the scene last time we were talking about the border a couple weeks back, where are they? I would think they would be out there filming it and sharing their point of view on a border wall being constructed.
It's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
With all the bad press they're getting, you would think that they would want to, tout that, unless it's an embarrassment that, yeah, we had to go back and start the construction again.
Well,
either way, kind of interesting. It's certainly a head scratcher.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. And did I hear this from him that there's something, or did you mention this in California as well? So near the border, you mentioned it.
Yep.
So that's interesting because I know that Governor Newsom just made some decisions about, how to make life easier for the newcomers. And so it'd be interesting if they were building a wall along the border, considering all the decisions he's made recently.
Yep.
How was that? I walked that line pretty well, didn't I, John?
You did a great job there. I'm proud of you.
Gold star, yes.
Very proud of you. Secret construction. That's just an interesting thing, and we'll kind of move on from that. Next, I want to bring up you good with that? You want to move on?
Yeah, I think it's good to move on. We'll have to watch this to see what develops. Clearly, something is happening. Clearly, there's a reason for it to be kept quiet. We'll have to continue to look into it and see what comes of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's rather interesting that on the same day, we had both presidents, Biden and Trump, visit the border. Trump went to Eagle Pass, Texas, the home of that, the encampment that they've built there at, oh gosh, what's the name of the park? You remember. But anyway, they've taken over a park on the border that has waterfront there at the Rio Grande. They have Border Patrol working hand in hand with National Guard, Texas National Guard. And let me tell you, every politician that wants to be on camera has been at this location. I saw 2 weeks ago, they had Governor Abbott visit there with 14 other conservative governors, including the governor of both Montana and Idaho. Both of them were there. So interesting that there's Eagle Pass. That's where President Trump went. And then President Biden went to Brownsville, Texas. So I've got a clip from each of these. Why don't we sit back and just enjoy this a little bit?
Brownsville, because that's the epicenter.
Got no sound on this one.
Who's filming? This is Forbes.
It could be a really long lens on this one too. Oh, he's not
Right.
backing underneath that shirt, is he?
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll get to it in this clip or not, but at one point, President Trump walks over to the Rio Grande. There are several aliens on the other side. Well, they're not aliens, they're in their own land.
People. There are several people, not yet newcomers, on the other side.
Yeah, and Trump just waves at him. Hey there.
Texas going to put it to use. Very effective. He has denied everything that works. It works.
Boy, Abbott. Look at him go.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's just waving at him.
Oh, Trump. Are they?
They're yelling Trump at him?
They
They
just
like
cheered
Trump.
for
Could you
Trump?
believe it?
Oh.
You hear that? He says they like Trump.
Wow.
All right, so that's
Good for him though. I did hear that once the whisper got out that Trump was going to the border, then President Biden said, "Hey, I too have to get to the border." The part that I thought was interesting is instead of going to Eagle Pass, which is where it's the epicenter of everything, went to Brownsville, which I mean, it's a border, but is that where you have all of majority of the activity that's going on and the majority of the work that's being done to try to mitigate some of the crossings that are done illegally away outside of the I can't think of what it's called. the bridges that come across where you go through the normal
Sure.
pass.
ports of
Yeah.
entry. No ports of
Yeah.
entry. Yeah.
The
It's
points of entry.
interesting.
Thank you. Ports of entry.
Yeah, I mean, we were showing that. If you look at some of our previous recordings, we were showing some of those ports of entry and the traffic that piles up on those things. There's a lot of traffic that goes through there. But I find it interesting that Trump, I can't imagine the logistics of going out there in the open like that, directly across where you have foreign nationals,
Right.
including
Right.
cartels. I mean, the cartels have been helping these folks get across, and I've in previous videos we've shown the cartel will get right up to the edge of the Rio Grande. They'll point to where they're supposed to swim to. Just wait across there, right up there. There's people waiting for you. There's clothing and everything else for you on the other side. And yet Trump just goes down there. I can't imagine all of the logistics that went into keeping him safe down there. Now I want to show you a contrasting video of our good friend, President Biden.
Good.
Yeah, and he's down there on the border. Turn the viewpoint.
Both making separate trips to the U.S.
Well,
southern
we're gonna
border
show
today.
both.
Fox's Bowen Kurdrovich is in Eagle Pass, Texas, where former
Yeah.
President Trump spoke this afternoon. Bowen.
Marla, Alex, yeah, former President Trump made one of his stops just behind me here in Shelby Park, which has been a hotspot for migrant crossings over the past few months. Earlier this afternoon, there were roughly 100 Trump supporters waiting for him for his arrival early this afternoon. And I got to speak with some of them, and they tell me that they are fed up with the illegal immigration that has been going on. And they are not alone. A Gallup poll shows 28% of Americans say immigration immigration is the most important problem facing the United States. This afternoon, Trump met with Texas Governor Greg Abbott as he toured the border. Trump made remarks about the violence carried out by some undocumented immigrants, including the murder of Laken Riley in Georgia.
Crooked Joe is the blood of countless innocent victims. It's so many stories to tell, so many horrible stories. 3 years ago, we had the most secure border in history.
About 300 miles away, President Biden visited Brownsville, Texas, a city that has recently seen few crossings along the southern border, as Eagle Pass has had over 2,000 apprehensions within the last 5 days, compared to 46 in Brownsville. President Biden met with Border Patrol officials there. He again called on the Senate to pass a bipartisan immigration bill to help agents working along the border.
We need more resources, need more agents, more officers, more judges, more equipment in order to secure our border. Folks, it's time for us to move on this.
In addition to that, President Biden said the bill would also cut the time to hear the final decision for asylum cases. He says right now the time for that is about 5 to 7 years, but he says the bill would cut that time down to about 6 months. In Eagle Pass, Texas, Bowen Kadrovich, Fox 11 News.
Okay, what do we
Today you get your
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm in
that's,
favor. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Like I'm in favor of border reform. I'm in favor of expediting a process. I don't mean doing it so quickly that you make a lot of mistakes and have a lot of misses. But like, I think we can do things much faster than 5 to 7 years. Especially nowadays, we have a lot of technology that can help us out. It's so fascinating that the administration would choose a place that is safe and comfortable and will continue the narrative. And then, of course, Biden looks angry as he usually does, right? Pounding the table about, it's time to act. I mean, he's had 3 years to act. He's acted. His choices are what we've been experiencing. He was able to act all on his own without any help from Congress. It's strange that now that he needs Congress to help him so that he could act again to stop what's happening. It's fascinating.
There was a conference that he made at one of his stops down in Brownsville where he was equating the problem with immigration or the illegal immigration to climate change. I couldn't follow the connection. I really couldn't. I don't know what that connection was, but I can tell you that he got a lot of heat from both sides on that. So interesting comments, but I don't know. An interesting compare and contrast to the two folks being down there, the two presidents down there at the border, and each of them, making their own points.
I'll say this. I appreciate the courage of a leader to go and do what's tough, to go to places where it's tough, where it's difficult, where there's a struggle. And we've seen there's a pattern, right? One of those two people, when they, in this country and globally, have gone to places where it's tough. It's not easy. It's not simple. We don't have the best relationships. And that person's gone there to act on behalf of our country, negotiate better terms for the United States. And I know that feels uncomfortable to some, but not to me. I think we need that. And then there's the other person who's very comfortable, went to very comfortable places and stays there often and is unable to and unwilling to go and do what's tough, go to the places where it's tough and go meet those challenges head on. And it's not one or two examples. Now there's probably 30 examples, including some of our toughest cities in this country. And this is just another example of taking the easy road out.
So for those of you joining us for the first time, this is just our take where we are free to give our own opinions. You're free to believe them or like them or not. And Dave has an opinion, just in case.
I might have a thought or two. That was my opinion.
I see Undertaker 33. I just give you his comment on that. Thanks, Undertaker. We appreciate your input.
Whether you're laughing at me or with me, I appreciate it.
All of the above. I'm guessing, and he also follows. I'm assuming it's a he, right? Sorry for assuming there, but no, I'm not. I know who it is.
Okay.
You do too,
All
Dave.
right.
But you do
I
too.
do too. All right.
So,
yeah.
do you want to go? Or you want me to go?
No, you have another border story, right?
No, that's.
Oh, you don't.
Gosh,
Okay. Well,
wasn't that enough?
well, it is. It is. Like I'm like a caged animal. I want to speak on this, but I've got to be thoughtful. And also, I appreciate the two stories you brought forward. It's just it's indicative of there's a lot that's going on around the border, and I know those are just a couple of the topics. There's a lot more to talk about if we're able to get into it on Rumble at some point. So continuation, last week we talked a little bit about, some things going on in Illinois. I thought this was really interesting, and I'm sure you've heard, but just checking in with you. Have you heard about Trump's potentially being removed from the ballot in Illinois?
I did hear something about him being removed from the ballot in Illinois, but that would be his third or fourth ballot removal.
Yeah, let me share a clip here. I took this shamelessly from a Fox News clip. Let me play this and let's start the story
now,
off.
3 weeks away from the March primary election, a Cook County judge has ruled Donald Trump is disqualified from running in Illinois for violating Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Judge Tracy Porter then put her order on hold until Friday in anticipation of an immediate appeal by Trump's attorneys. Porter's ruling reverses last month's decision by the Illinois Board of Elections to keep Trump's name on the ballot after a group of Illinois voters accused the former president of engaging in insurrection leading to the January 6th Capitol riot. Tonight.
Oh.
Now less than 3 weeks away from of the 14th Amendment. Judge Tracy Porter then put her order on hold until Friday in anticipation of an immediate appeal by Trump's attorneys. Porter's ruling reverses last month's decision by the Illinois Board of Elections to keep Trump's name on the ballot after a group of Illinois voters accused the former president of engaging in insurrection leading to the January 6th Capitol riot. Tonight.
So fascinating. The elections, the State Board of Electors voted 8-0 that this isn't an area where we have jurisdiction, and so no 8-0. I mean, that's conviction. They said nope. We will not. We think that's the wrong thing to do. Leave him on the ballot. And of course, Judge Porter says that, hey, look, you're guilty of insurrection, and so therefore we need to protect democracy, and the way we protect democracy is by taking.
Let me stop you for a second before you go any further. My understanding, he's not been charged, nor has anybody been charged with insurrection.
Yeah, I don't know if due process is important, John. I mean, it might be important. It's if they're gonna look to the Constitution to say, here's a reason why we can remove him from the ballot. I think you skipped right over is it the Fourth Amendment, the one where we talk about due process? I feel like you need to be tried. First you need to be indicted, and then tried, and then convicted before sentencing. But we skipped this judge, 28-year career, skipped right past all those other steps and go right to sentencing, and so he's guilty.
So does this judge work in election law? Is that what her primary focus is?
Yes, she does not. So most of her career, she has been working with business contracts and residential commercial real estate, entertainment, fashion law, and she's had a pretty successful career. It was the end of 2021 when she was sworn in as a judge, and she's actually working in the traffic division in downtown Chicago. Sorry, I was trying to say that without chuckling. So on the one hand, she can rule over should you or should you not get the red light speeding ticket. On the other hand, this person is a threat to democracy. We need to remove them from the ballot and remove that choice from the citizens of Illinois. And, you know, I don't know
Look,
if that's activism or what is it, but it's definitely, it seems like it's a little bit beyond her jurisdiction.
look, if there has been insurrection and President Trump is guilty of insurrection, then we need to follow the law and he should be removed from the ballot. He should not be eligible to run for president. I just don't know that a traffic court judge is the one to bring that ruling. And by the way, let me ask you this: did somebody actually bring an action to this judge?
No,
and she ruled on that, or this was out of her.
She's here to protect us from ourselves.
So there was no one that came to her and asked her to rule on a case, and she okay.
No,
okay.
I mean, but she's protecting us from ourselves because, by the way, those poor voting citizens, those poor people in Illinois, they have no idea that they should or should not vote for Trump, and so she knows that they should not. So she's going to go ahead and protect them. Now, the good news is that the Supreme Court has said, "Hey, we're gonna weigh in on this." We may hear from them as early as Monday. But it's not a court is not in session for this topic in general, but we may hear from them on Monday. And there are currently, so to answer your question, let me share with you, there are currently 31 states where there has been some action to try to remove Trump from the ballot. Currently, Colorado, Illinois, and Maine are the current three where you have where the state has said, yes, we are going to remove him pending a Supreme Court decision. But here's a little map for you. Also show you. So pending, where states have said, look, if you can remove them from the ballot, we may consider that also. Where in blue, you see states where they've said, no, it doesn't make any sense to remove Trump from the ballot. And of course, in green, also dismissed on appeal. So it's not going to happen in those states either. But in red, those three states in red, which will add Illinois to this list now.
I was going to say Illinois should be red, right?
Yeah. Yep. You'll see Illinois out of that list here. So what are some early comments? Well, I snipped this. Justice Alito, if what Colorado did here is sustained, other states would retaliate and they're going to potentially exclude another candidate from the ballot. What do you think about that situation? The response to that was, we don't think that's a problem. Well, you don't think it's a problem today, but you have very short memories. So when we're in a different election cycle, 4 years from now or 8 years from now, and some state were to say, we really don't like the person. It's not that they are qualified or not qualified, but they're of the wrong party. We don't like them for some reason. I don't even have to give you a reason. I now have the authority to go ahead and just say, we're not going to have them on the ballot. We're going to restrict a choice for our people.
Well,
that is called democracy.
It doesn't even just say years from now. I have heard people say that if they exclude Trump from the ballot, then the red states are going to exclude Biden from the ballot. Then what do you have? I mean, that's just an absolute mess.
It's an absolute mess. And you have to ask, this is not a we, they have said, we're doing this because we're trying to protect democracy. Well, when you have, I'm going to forget the gentleman's name, who just died under suspicious circumstances in Russia. I forget his name.
Or something.
Shoot. Yeah, Alexei that's him. Alexei Navalny. So we, of course, it's an uproar. Oh, Putin, how dare you? You killed something happened, nefarious happened to your political opponent. You are a threat to the democracy in the world. And then at the same time, we're not concerned at all. No one's concerned that we have suspended all elections in Ukraine. Like there's no election. So if you're not happy with who you currently have, there's nothing you can do about it. And of course, there's countless other criticisms we have of other countries around the world and their process by which they choose their leaders. Yet in our country, for some reason, we feel comfortable saying it's okay to remove somebody from the ballot No, we don't have to have convicted them yet. You don't have to go through the process, but because we don't like you, that's enough of a reason. And that is a very dangerous slippery slope.
To be fair, they're not saying we don't like you, that's why we're removing you. They're saying that you created an insurrection or facilitated an insurrection. And based on the 14th Amendment subclause 5 or 3 or whichever it is, that's why 3, yeah. They're excluding 5, which is another interesting point to that. But if that were legit and we had somebody that had indeed caused an insurrection or facilitated an insurrection, they shouldn't be available or shouldn't be allowed. So from that standpoint, great. In this case, and to your point, that's not what's happening here. We don't have anyone even charged with insurrection, let alone convicted of. And back to your point, we cannot remove somebody from the ballot for something that we think that they did, but we can't prove that they did. So,
right. If we have the courage to remove him from the ballot, then you must have the courage also to indict him. Like literally, you have 91 other indictments built on a house of cards in several different situations. If you believe that he's guilty of causing an insurrection, then indict him, and then let's bring it to court. Show your evidence. By the way, putting the actual evidence in for the public to view will definitely might create some more people leaving that current party. At some point, you have to say, you fooled me once, fooled me twice, you fooled me a third time. Okay, now I'm done being fooled. I can't trust you anymore. And that is exactly what will happen. You try to bring that case to court, but bring it to court. Let's try it in court. It's really got me thinking. That's a terrible analogy, but what happened to Tanya Harding when she knew she couldn't beat Nancy Kerrigan? Do you remember what she did?
Oh, I do. It's called a lead pipe.
You're frozen on my end, John. But yeah,
I know. Me too. My whole computer's off to see you now.
Okay, well, at least you don't have a strange face. It didn't work out that well for Tanya, right? It was discovered right away, and just the whole thing fell apart. That's what happens when you have to cheat to win. I know. Sorry, that's my opinion, just my take in this case here. I feel like when you have to change the rules in order to win, you don't deserve to win. And I heard a statement on one of the news interviews today that said, if Trump was losing in the polls, if he was just getting crushed, and Biden was, had a 60% favorability or at least over 40% favorability, then we wouldn't be hearing anything about this. But it's not the case. The fact is that they know it's a real threat, that when you put on the ballot a Trump versus Biden ballot in front of the United States this fall, Trump is way ahead. And so therefore you got to do whatever it takes, including pulling a Tanya Harding to win.
I would like to be able to go on over here. Technical difficulties that really kind of irks me. But we can talk about it without showing the clip. How about that? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So
thanks for letting me rant. Thanks for letting me rant about that.
It was a good topical rant.
Awesome.
There's the other thing that's going on in the news right now is there is a ongoing election interference case that was brought in Georgia, and the claim is that Trump and 18 others interfered with the election because they were saying that there was election interference, and they were saying that there was ballot stuffing, there was ballot harvesting, there were fraudulent ballots. They had a whole list of things that they said were going on there. And the Fulton County District Attorney, along with a prosecutor that she hired, brought charges against Trump and indicted him. And as they were going through this process, some very interesting things started coming to light. including the fact that the district attorney who brought these charges not only campaigned on "I'm going to get Trump," but her boyfriend is the one who actually was the one she hired to be the prosecutor. He didn't have a lot of experience in prosecuting cases like this, and he got paid an awful lot of money. Furthermore, it turns out that they were going on lavish trips together, and he was paying for them all. And she says that she paid them back, but she paid them back out of cash. And this is an ongoing subplot to the original trial. There is an ongoing trial. They heard closing arguments on Friday. This is just a train wreck. They're trying to figure out when exactly the relationship started. Both Fannie Willis and her boyfriend, lover, or whatever he is, both of them are saying, no, this relationship started after we brought the case. And there is evidence out there now that it happened, that they'd been dating for over 2 years prior. So that's rather interesting.
My favorite quote from that entire, what you just described, like the fact that we know it's been going on for a couple of years. My favorite quote, it's one word, dang. When you're looking across, when you're on the stand and you're being asked, did you know about this relationship? No, I didn't know about this relationship. But then you're looking at text messages that go back several years and there's thousands of them. Clearly you knew about this relationship. And what is your response to this? Dang.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have not left the building. I've not.
Yeah.
I'm still here for some reason. That's just hates me. So
well, we see your music studio. Fonny, this case. Oh, you're back. This case is fascinating to me because if you remove the person who is now to the side of this, but otherwise would be the center of this case, and that is Trump and 17 other people. If you pull them out and you just looked at this and you said, hey, you have a person who's been hired to be a prosecutor, who, by the way, is a defense attorney otherwise, not really, this is not really their strong suit, and they're being hired by somebody who happens to be very deeply involved in the case and happens to be your significant other, because in this case, after years, clearly the relationship is they're not just friends, right? You don't just hundreds of times go and do law research, law reviews from midnight to 5 a.m. at the other person's residence, right? Like clearly these people are a couple. You don't get to hire your intimate significant other and pay them. They're not qualified. If you're a defense attorney now, you're going to be a prosecutor. I guess you can make the argument you're still talking about the law, but that's not your specialty anymore. And you personally are benefiting by it. Okay, so financially you're benefiting by it. There's all kinds of ethical rules that have been broken here. And so at some point the evidence that's been brought forth with the text messages and the phone calls and just there's a whole trail of evidence now. At some point, do you throw in the towel and do you ask for mercy? Or do you continue to fight and push and make this judge weigh in? And the judge is going to I hope this judge does the right thing and says, you can't be on this case. And by the way, you might not be able to be a lawyer anymore either. You might lose your...
Let's touch base on that. So part of the allegations were that they were having a relationship before the DA hired this prosecutor. They went on lavish vacations together. She claims that she paid them back out of her own money. There is no paper trail because, of course, she paid cash. They're asking her where she came up with that much cash. And sometimes I think some of the totals are over $25,000. And her response was, well, sometimes when I would go to the grocery store, I'd take an extra $50 out.
Yeah,
And
seems
their
reasonable.
response, the response was, well, if that's the case, that's going to show up in your bank statements.
Yep.
We can pull that information, whether you bought $25 worth of groceries and got $50 cash back. But even so, do you want to do the math on how many times it would take you to pay back this $25,000 or whatever the total was? And she said, well, some of the money, I always had cash on hand. Some of the money came from my campaign. It was leftover money from my campaign. Now, that goes into federal election law. Now we're talking about campaign finance. If she lied under oath and said that our relationship didn't start, and by the way, there are 2 witnesses that say that the relationship started 2 years prior, and she is lying about the money, yeah, to your point, Dave, not only can she not, and by the way, the entire district attorney's office is now impugned. The entire office. So do they now go back and look at other cases? Or do they just go after this one and say this case is thrown out? Or they'd have to throw it out because the entire thing, they would have to start from scratch and go back at this again. But there's also, because if the judge rules that they lied under oath, that is a direct referral to the bar.
Yeah, it has to be.
And I'm not talking about for shots.
Although that may be where they go after they leave the first bar.
They may.
Or they're kicked out of the first bar.
Just a mess. I want to show you a quick video now that I'm back and here. I want to show you a quick video. This is the judge getting just a little bit testy with Miss Willis here.
Okay. I don't understand anybody. In 2020, I lived in South Fulton. Okay. That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to abandon my home, Judge. All right. And at my home in South Fulton, he never came there, okay? So if you don't come someplace, you can't live there.
So that's when I have to caution you. That's going to be my first time out to caution you. We have to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens again and again, I'm going to have no choice but to strike your testimony. So we need to break this down. This merchant's question, I believe, is asking whether you lived anywhere other than South Fulton.
Can I just
if you've been in a car accident,
can I just say that if you or I were in court and either one of us were to talk over a judge and talk back to a judge like we just saw in that exchange, we would be held in contempt. Like, there's no way we would get away with that.
She's the district attorney, which is why I think they gave her some deference.
No question. No question. And which of course she doesn't, I can't tell. I can't say I don't know her, but it does not appear that she understands that she's being given a little bit of latitude. But I would love to see that judge say, I'm going to shut this latitude down because you are not behaving professionally as a DA should.
It's going to be interesting. The ruling is supposed to come down by the 15th, I think. I don't know. I was watching closing arguments and I'm going to call them the Trump side, but they're, like I said, we've got John Eastman, who is a fellow at, gosh, hang on. I have it right here. John Eastman. At the Claremont Institute. He also taught law at Chapman University for a number of years. We have Rudy Giuliani on that team, and again, about 16 other defendants. They came in on closing arguments, and they just racked up point after point after point. And if you look at Fannie Willis's attorney, he was stuttering and stammering, couldn't keep a clear point. It did not look good for the district attorney's side. So who knows? We'll have to see how that ends up, but I think this could be pretty big momentum shift here.
I think again, if you take the names out, Rudy Giuliani and Trump, and you take all the names out and you just say, is this the kind of behavior that you will tolerate from a court officer? And the answer has to be no. It has to be. If this is your judgment, if you're willing to lie, if you're willing to be deceitful, if you're willing to do things that are clearly a conflict of interest, then you're not fit to be an officer of the court, regardless of whose case you're trying. You're the wrong person. That should be every person's opinion. Would you want to go to court and find that the person who is the judge or the district attorney, like you have a case, and the district attorney across who's trying the case against you is as unethical and immoral as, and probably has broken some laws? Well, we talk about campaign finance as what it appears that Fani has. No, you absolutely would not want to go up again, because that person will lie, cheat, and do whatever it takes to convict you too. And even if you're completely, that's a extreme case, but that person has no business being in our courtrooms.
Couldn't agree more. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at, and this is not a paid promotion, just so you know, but our friends over at Steel Rebel, they're going to be making some shirts and hats for us. Kind of cool thing. So Steel Rebel is going to be making some shirts and hats for us. So we're real excited about that. And also we have some friends and family online. Thanks for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Also want to just remind you once again, please, if you get a chance, if you need any help, you can reach out to us and we can let you know how to do it. But please get over to Rumble and sign up on Rumble. Follow us on Rumble. Make sure you make comments. We love to hear from you. We also love it when you give us a great big thumbs up. And we want to move this show over to Rumble exclusively within the next few weeks.
Yes, can go faster. By the way, Rumble is a lot of fun. There's a lot of content on Rumble. Now there's a little bit of an echo chamber too. So just, you got to think about that. But there's a lot of really good content. There's some great broadcasters out there who've done a really nice job in all kinds of different areas, not just politics, but there's a bit of politics as well. It is a phenomenal web streaming service, and I'm excited to see it grow. And thank you, John, for helping us get there so that we can be a little bit more open about some of our takes on things.
Yes, I think some of our audience right now is saying, "Oh no, freer to talk. We don't need that, please." Hey, I want to follow up. So another announcement here. We're going to try to do 2 shows a week. We're going to try to do Sundays and Wednesdays if that works out. We're not committing to Wednesdays. We're definitely committed to the Sundays for right now. This is going to be the time slot we're going to stay in for now. If you guys have some time slots that would work better for you, we'd love to hear from you as well. But thanks for joining us. Also, next Sunday, at the very latest, next Sunday, we're going to be talking about, I'm hoping there's some more information on this case in Georgia. I think that there's some really interesting things happening along the border, and it's like there's a great big shift in momentum there. So I think that people are going to stop the mass migration. I think that some of those things are coming up. Although I heard there is a big caravan, upwards of 25,000 people coming down. So coming up. We'll have to see what happens there. And there's some really interesting things happen in the political realm. They are trying to push a certain candidate out. And I'm not talking about the one that we just were talking about in court. They're trying to push a candidate out, and they are floating a whole bunch of names as a replacement. So we'll watch that one closely, and we would be much more able to say these things on Rumble. So one more reason to get to the Rumble zone.
Hey, we didn't say congratulations to Haley for winning Washington, D.C. I think she picks up 3 votes there, 3 delegates.
Wait, she won Washington, D.C.?
Yeah. So Trump lost Washington, D.C. Man. I know it's rough. So congratulations, Nikki Haley, for winning Washington, D.C. You did it.
Hey, if she's still in next Sunday, we should talk a little bit about what our thoughts are and just our take on why she's still there.
That sounds great. Look forward to it.
Sounds good. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're glad that you're here. Again, hit that thumbs up thing. Hang on, I got a little banner here. Watch this. Boink. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. In case you didn't hear me, you can read it right there. Tell your friends about us. Tell your friends to join us on Rumble at Just Our Take. For David, I'm John, and we're really glad that you came to visit us tonight. Have a great week.
All right. Good night.